fun, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's ability to disappear into characters has made him one of the most versatile actors of his generation. From the enigmatic Edward Scissorhands to the eccentric Captain Jack Sparrow, he has delivered performances that defined entire eras of cinema. His portrayal of Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, was widely expected to earn him an Oscar. Yet the Academy seemed hesitant to award a comedic performance, even one as groundbreaking as his. Depp has been nominated 3 times, for Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, Finding Neverland, and Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. But each time he lost to actors delivering more traditionally dramatic roles. Fans have long argued that Depp's transformative performances deserve more recognition, while critics believe that his offbeat choices and preference for fantasy and eccentric characters may have worked against him. Additionally, his personal controversies and legal battles have overshadowed his career in recent years, possibly influencing the Academy's reluctance to honor him. Despite this, Depp remains a powerhouse performer, and many still believe that his Oscar moment will eventually come. Akinci Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman was a master of presence and delivery, capable of elevating any role he took on. His deep, commanding voice and controlled intensity made him unforgettable in films like Die Hard as the cunning Hans Gruber and in Harry Potter as the enigmatic Severus Snape. Despite his remarkable talent, the Academy never awarded him an Oscar, a decision many fans consider one of its greatest oversights. Rickman's portrayal of Snape, in particular, was a slow burn of complexity, revealing the character's depth only as the series unfolded. While he never received an Oscar nomination, critics and fans alike believed his work in films such as Sense and Sensibility and Truly Madly deeply showcased his exceptional range. Some speculate that the Academy may have overlooked him because of his dominance in villainous or supporting roles rather than leading performances. Others argue that his effortless ability to disappear into a character made his skills seem almost too natural, robbing him of the grandstanding moments the Oscars typically reward. Sadly, Rickman passed away in 2016, leaving behind a legacy of performances that will forever be cherished, even if the Academy never gave him the recognition he deserved. Third, Ian McKellen. Sir Ian McKellen is a legend of both stage and screen, a performer whose Shakespearean mastery translates effortlessly into blockbuster epics. Best known for his commanding roles as Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Magneto in X-Men, McKellen has earned 2 Academy Award nominations but never secured a win. His first nomination came for Gods and Monsters, where he delivered a deeply moving portrayal of filmmaker James Whale. His second for The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, saw him bring wisdom and gravitas to one of the most beloved characters in fantasy cinema. Fans and critics alike have long debated why McKellen remains Oscarless. Some believe that his work in fantasy and superhero films, genres historically overlooked by the Academy, has been a major factor. Others argue that despite his magnetic performances, his roles often fell into the supporting category, where competition is fierce. Regardless of the Academy's oversight, McKellen's contributions to film, theater, and LGBTQ+ advocacy have cemented his place as one of the most respected actors of all time. Though he has yet to hold an Oscar, he holds the admiration of millions, which may be an even greater prize. Czwarty, Edward Norton. Edward Norton's commitment to his craft is unparalleled, making him one of Hollywood's most intense and respected actors. His breakout role in Primal Fear showcased his ability to switch between personas with chilling precision, earning him an Oscar nomination. He followed it up with a career-defining performance in American History X, a deeply transformative role that secured him another nomination. Despite these powerhouse performances, he has yet to win an Oscar. Many expected him to triumph with Birdman, where he delivered a biting, self-aware take on the industry, but he lost out once again. Fans often cite Norton's range and dedication as proof that he deserves Academy recognition, while critics point to his reputation for being difficult to work with, which may have cost him industry votes. Additionally, his preference for complex, sometimes controversial characters may have worked against him in favor of more traditional, Oscar-friendly roles. Still, Norton remains one of the most gifted actors of his generation, and given his undeniable talent, an Oscar could still be in his future. 5. Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood is a true icon of American cinema, a man whose stoic presence and sharp gaze have defined the Western and action genres for decades. His rise to fame began with A Fistful of Dollars, launching him as the ultimate gunslinger of the spaghetti Western era. He followed it up with unforgettable roles in The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly and Dirty Harry, crafting an image of a rugged, no-nonsense anti-hero that Hollywood would try and fail to replicate. But Eastwood was never just a star, he was a storyteller. His transition to directing brought masterpieces like Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby, both of which won Best Picture and Best Director Oscars. Yet despite his success behind camera, Eastwood has never won an Academy Award for acting. Fans and critics alike believe that if there was ever a performance that deserved an Oscar, it was his hauntingly restrained portrayal of William Money in Unforgiven. A deconstruction of the Western hero, Money was a broken man wrestling with his past, a far cry from the invincible cowboys Eastwood had played before. While the film won Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actor for Gene Hackman, Eastwood lost the Best Actor award to Al Pacino for Scent of a Woman. Many argue that Pacino's win was a make-up Oscar for his past snubs, leaving Eastwood's raw, lived-in performance overlooked. 6. Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, with his commanding presence and deep, resonant voice, has delivered some of the most powerful performances in modern cinema. Though now best known for his action roles in films like Taken, where he redefined himself as a late-career action star, Neeson's dramatic performances have often been hailed as Oscar-worthy. His most heartbreaking and universally acclaimed role came in Schindler's List, where he portrayed Oskar Schindler, a German businessman who saved over 1,000 Jewish lives during the Holocaust. His portrayal of Schindler was layered with quiet guilt, internal conflict, and ultimate redemption, making it one of the most emotionally devastating performances of the decade. Despite receiving an Oscar nomination for Best Actor, Neeson lost to Tom Hanks for Philadelphia, another deeply moving performance tackling the AIDS crisis. Many critics believe Neeson's loss was due to the Academy's stronger emotional connection to Hanks's film, while fans argue that Schindler's List-winning Best Picture overshadowed individual performances. Some speculate that Neeson's natural, understated style doesn't fit the Academy's preference for showier, transformative roles. 7th, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, with his rugged charm and effortless charisma, has become one of Hollywood's most legendary actors. He skyrocketed to fame as Han Solo in Star Wars, making space rogues irresistibly cool, and further cemented his stardom as Indiana Jones, the whip-cracking archaeologist in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Ford's natural ability to blend action with depth made him the ultimate everyman hero, and while he dominated the box office, he never quite won over the Academy. If there was ever a performance that deserved an Oscar, it was his gripping role as John Book in Witness, where he played a hardened detective protecting an Amish boy who witnessed a murder. Unlike his action-heavy roles, Witness allowed Ford to showcase vulnerability, restraint, and quiet intensity. The performance earned him his only Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, but he lost to William Hurt for Kiss of the Spider-Woman, a role that was considered more transformative and daring. Fans argue that Ford has been repeatedly overlooked because of his dominance in blockbuster films, which the Academy often snubs. Critics believe his understated performances, relying on natural charisma rather than dramatic transformations, don't fit the Oscar mold. Despite this, Ford remains a box office legend, and while an Oscar win may never come, his impact on cinema is undeniable. 8th, Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes, with his Shakespearean gravitas and piercing intensity, has given some of the most haunting performances in modern cinema. His chilling portrayal of Amon Goth in Schindler's List left audiences shaken, showcasing a villain both terrifying and disturbingly human. The role earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, but he lost to Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive, a decision that still frustrates many film lovers. Fiennes continued to prove his range with The English Patient, where he played the doomed Count Almacy in a sweeping romantic epic. This performance brought him a nomination for Best Actor, But the Oscar went to Geoffrey Rush for Shine, a film with a more overtly dramatic arc. While both of Fiennes' Oscar-nominated performances were widely acclaimed, some believe his roles were overshadowed by the film's overall success, leading the Academy to reward others instead. Despite his lack of Oscar wins, Fiennes' career has been defined by powerful and complex roles. Whether as the dark and menacing Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter, or the eccentric concierge in the Grand Budapest Hotel, he continues to mesmerize audiences. While an Oscar may have eluded him so far, his legacy as one of Britain's finest actors remains intact. 9. Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, with his chiseled features and intense gaze, has crafted a career filled with daring and unpredictable roles. Whether playing villains, tortured artists, or eccentric oddballs, he brings an unmistakable presence to the screen. His performance as Sergeant Elias in Platoon in 1986 remains one of his most heartbreaking, portraying a soldier caught in a moral battle within the Vietnam War. The role earned him his first Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, but he lost to Michael Caine in Hannah and Her Sisters in 1986, a decision that many still debate. Dafoe continued to impress with Shadow of the Vampire in 2000, where he transformed into the grotesque and unsettling Max Schreck, a role so immersive that audiences questioned whether they were watching fiction or reality. He was again nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but lost to Benicio del Toro in Traffic in 2000. His raw, emotionally charged performance in The Florida Project in 2017 as a compassionate motel manager was another moment that seemed destined for an Oscar, but Sam Rockwell won for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri in 2017. Critics believe Dafoe's chameleon-like ability to disappear into his characters, often in smaller or offbeat films, makes it easier for him to be overlooked. Fans argue that he is long overdue for recognition. Still, with a career as daring as his, an Oscar win may yet be in his future. Turturui, Matt Karen. Matt Damon, with his affable charm and versatility, has proven himself as both a box office star and a serious actor. His breakthrough came with Good Will Hunting in 1997, which he co-wrote with Ben Affleck, earning an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, but missing out on the Best Actor award to Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets in 1997. While the film launched his career, it was his later performances that truly solidified his acting credentials. His role in The Talented Mr. Ripley in 1999 showed a darker side, as he played a manipulative con artist with chilling precision. Despite widespread praise, he didn't receive an Oscar nomination. He finally landed a Best Actor nod for The Martian in 2015, balancing humor and resilience as an astronaut stranded on Mars, but lost to Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant in 2015. Some argue that Damon's naturalistic acting style, which doesn't rely on dramatic transformations, keeps him from winning. Despite this, Damon remains one of Hollywood's most respected actors. With his continued success in both action and drama, as well as his philanthropic efforts, his career is far from over. Fans still hope he will take home an acting Oscar one day, proving that even Hollywood's golden boy has unfinished business with the Academy. 11. Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman, with his magnetic charm and remarkable versatility, has seamlessly navigated between action, drama, and musical theater. While best known for his portrayal of Wolverine in the X-Men franchise, a role he played for nearly 2 decades, it was his transformative turn in Les Miserables in 2012 that seemed destined for Oscar glory. As Jean Valjean, Jackman delivered a raw, emotional performance, balancing intense physicality with soaring musical talent. His nomination for Best Actor was well-deserved, but he ultimately lost to Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln in 2012, a performance that had long been deemed unbeatable. Fans believe Jackman's commitment to the physically demanding Wolverine role may have pigeonholed him in the eyes of the Academy. Despite his broader range, critics argue that while he consistently delivers strong performances, he hasn't had that one groundbreaking, career-defining dramatic role that wins Oscars. However, with Jackman's dedication to his craft and continued work in both prestige films and commercial hits, an Oscar win may just be a matter of time. 12. Bill Murray. Bill Murray's deadpan humor and effortless wit made him a comedy legend, but his transition into more nuanced, dramatic roles proved his depth as an actor. He first gained fame on Saturday Night Live before becoming a box office favorite with Ghostbusters in 1984 and Groundhog Day in 1993. But it was his understated performance in Lost in Translation in 2003 that earned him his first and only Oscar nomination. Playing an aging actor grappling with loneliness in Tokyo, Murray brought a level of vulnerability that stunned audiences. Many believed he would win, but the Academy awarded the Best Actor trophy to Sean Penn for Mystic River in 2003, a far more intense and emotionally charged role. Fans argue that the Academy tends to overlook comedic actors, even when they deliver subtle, deeply felt performances. Critics believe that Murray's unpredictable career choices and reluctance to campaign for awards may have cost him the win. Despite this, his legacy is secure, and his performances continue to inspire admiration across generations. 13. Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson's journey from sitcom star to acclaimed dramatic actor is one of Hollywood's most fascinating transformations. After charming audiences as the lovable bartender on Cheers, he reinvented himself with gripping roles in Natural Born Killers in 1994, The People vs. Larry Flynt in 1996, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri in 2017. The latter earned him his third Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, but he lost to his co-star Sam Rockwell, whose role had more screen time and dramatic weight. Many fans believe Harrelson's effortless, relaxed acting style sometimes works against him in Oscar races, where the Academy favors showier performances. Critics, however, acknowledge his consistent ability to elevate any role he takes. With an impressive career that only continues to grow, Harrelson remains one of the industry's most respected talents, and an Oscar win could still be in his future. 14. Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland's six-decade career was filled with unforgettable roles, yet the Academy never awarded him a competitive Oscar. His chilling performance in Ordinary People in 1980 as a grieving father, and his haunting turn in Don't Look Now in 1973 showcased his immense range, but he was never even nominated. Fans have long considered his omission from Oscar history one of the Academy's greatest oversights. Many believe Sutherland's refusal to conform to Hollywood politics, combined with his frequent choices of unconventional roles, kept him from being recognized. Critics argue that his subtlety and restraint may have worked against him in an industry that rewards grand, transformative performances. Though he finally received an honorary Oscar in 2017, it felt like a long overdue acknowledgement for an actor who had given so much to cinema. 15. Ed Harris. Ed Harris, known for his commanding presence and piercing blue eyes, has built a career playing intense, complex characters. Whether portraying a no-nonsense leader, a conflicted hero, or a deeply flawed man, Harris brings an authenticity few actors can match. His performances in Apollo 13 in 1995, The Truman Show in 1998, and Pollock in 2000 all earned him Oscar nominations, yet he never walked away with the gold. His portrayal of the iconic painter Jackson Pollock, which he also directed, was widely regarded as his best shot at winning, but Russell Crowe took home Best Actor that year for Gladiator in 2000. Critics believe Harris's understated style, which relies on nuance rather than grand theatrical moments, may have worked against him. Fans argue that his performances are often so natural that they appear effortless, something the Academy tends to overlook in favor of more visibly transformative roles. While he remains one of Hollywood's most respected actors, an Oscar win remains an elusive goal. 16. Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch's sharp intellect and magnetic screen presence have made him a favorite among fans and critics alike. His breakthrough came with Sherlock in 2010 to 2017, where his modern, fast-talking interpretation of the legendary detective made him a global sensation. On the big screen, his chilling performance in The Imitation Game in 2014 as Alan Turing earned him an Oscar nomination, but he lost to Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything in 2014, a performance that showcased a more dramatic physical transformation. Many believe Cumberbatch's failure to win stems from the Academy's tendency to favor method acting and extreme physical alterations over cerebral, restrained performances. His recent nomination for The Power of the Dog in 2021 saw him take on a deeply layered role as a menacing yet vulnerable cowboy. But the Oscar went to Will Smith for King Richard in 2021, overshadowed by the controversy of the night. With his undeniable talent and continued presence in prestige films, Cumberbatch remains a strong Oscar contender for the future. 17. John Malkovich. John Malkovich, with his hypnotic voice and enigmatic aura, has carved out a career playing characters that linger in the mind long after the credits roll. His performances in Places in the Heart in 1984 and in The Line of Fire in 1993 earned him Oscar nominations, but he was overshadowed by stronger narratives in both cases. Malkovich's ability to seamlessly switch between chilling villains, eccentric geniuses, and even playing a version of himself in Being John Malkovich in 1999 showcases his unique range. Fans and critics alike believe Malkovich's unconventional approach to acting, often exuding an unsettling intensity, makes it difficult for the Academy to categorize him. While he may never win a traditional Oscar, his influence on cinema is undeniable, proving that some actors transcend awards. 18. Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal's emotionally raw performances and fearless role choices have made him one of the most respected actors of his generation. His heart-wrenching turn in Brokeback Mountain in 2005 earned him a Best Supporting Actor nomination, but he lost to George Clooney for Syriana in 2005. Many argue that his deeply moving portrayal of Jack Twist was ahead of its time in terms of Academy recognition. Perhaps his most egregious Oscar snub came with Nightcrawler in 2014, where he delivered an unsettling career-best performance as a morally corrupt crime journalist. Despite universal acclaim, he wasn't even nominated, a decision that still baffles fans and critics. Some believe Gyllenhaal's refusal to campaign aggressively for awards may have cost him recognition, while others think his ability to disappear into a wide variety of roles makes him harder to pin down as an Oscar-winning actor. With his relentless commitment to challenging roles, Gyllenhaal remains an actor the Academy may eventually have no choice but to honor. 19. Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole, with his striking blue eyes and commanding screen presence, was a force of nature in the world of acting. His breakthrough role as T.E. Lawrence in Lawrence of Arabia in 1962 remains one of the most mesmerizing performances in cinematic history. Despite delivering one of the greatest debuts ever, he lost the Oscar to Gregory Peck for To Kill a Mockingbird in 1962. That loss was just the beginning of a painful pattern. O'Toole would go on to receive 8 Oscar nominations without a single win, making him one of the most nominated actors never to take home the trophy. His roles in Beckett in 1964, The Lion in Winter in 1968, and The Stuntman in 1980 were all critically acclaimed, but he was constantly up against equally iconic performances. Fans argue that he was a victim of bad timing, with each loss coming against another actor at their career peak. Critics suggest that O'Toole's larger-than-life personality and rebellious streak may have made him less favorable to Academy voters. After decades of snubs, he was awarded an honorary Oscar in 2003, a recognition that felt long overdue. Though he never won a competitive Oscar, his impact on cinema remains unparalleled, and his performances continue to be studied and admired. 20th. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin revolutionized cinema, yet for most of his career, the Academy failed to recognize his brilliance. His character, the Tramp, became one of the most beloved figures in film history, charming audiences in masterpieces like City Lights in 1931, Modern Times in 1936, and The Great Dictator in 1940. Despite redefining visual storytelling, Chaplin was repeatedly overlooked for acting Oscars, even when his performances combined comedy, tragedy, and social commentary with unparalleled precision. His lack of recognition can be attributed to a mix of politics and industry bias. His outspoken views and accusations of communist ties led to his exile from the US, making him a controversial figure in Hollywood. The Academy eventually tried to make amends by giving him an honorary Oscar in 1972, but for many it was too little, too late. Fans and critics agree that Chaplin's genius extended far beyond acting. His work as a writer, director, and composer made him one of the most influential filmmakers of all time. Whether or not he won an Oscar, his legacy as a pioneer of cinema is undeniable. 21st, Robert Redford. Robert Redford, with his effortless charm and timeless appeal, became one of Hollywood's most bankable stars in the 1970s. His performances in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969, The Sting in 1973, and All the President's Men in 1976 cemented him as both a leading man and a box office draw. Yet despite his incredible body of work, he never won an Oscar for acting. His best shot at an Oscar likely came with The Sting, a film that won Best Picture, but Redford lost the Best Actor award to Jack Lemmon for Save the Tiger in 1973. Some argue that Redford's effortless, naturalistic acting style often made his performances seem too subtle for Academy voters, who tend to favor more dramatic, transformative roles. Though he never won for acting, Redford did receive an Oscar for Best Director with Ordinary People in 1980, proving his talent extended far beyond the screen. In 2002, the Academy honored him with a Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing his contributions to film, including founding the Sundance Film Festival. While fans still hope for an acting Oscar, Redford's influence on the industry remains unparalleled.